Hi everybody, this is Todd Schaefer, and with me as always is Kira Schaefer.
Hi.
And we are here to have another podcast with you. Yay!
Yay!
So we're going to go ahead and follow up on the last podcast where we talked about Myers-Briggs typology. And we're going to dive in just a little bit deeper to talk to you about your cognitive stack. So what the cognitive stack is, I like to think of it as a car model. Referring to the last podcast at personalityhacker.com, if you do take the Myers-Briggs test from there and you read your results after the test, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because this comes from there. So the cognitive stack is sometimes referred to as the car model. Car model means you have a driver, you got a front seat passenger, and then in the back seat, you have two other cognitive functions. Now, every type, all of the 16 types have a cognitive stack. You have your main driver function, you have your co-pilot or your front seat passenger secondary function, you have your back seat tertiary function or third function, sometimes called the 10-year-old cognitive stack, and then you have behind your driver, you have your back seat 3-year-old. All right, so you've got the driver, the co-pilot, the 10-year-old, and the 3-year-old. The 10-year-old's right behind the co-pilot, and the 3-year-old is right behind the driver. So let's go ahead and use me and Kira as examples and find out what our cognitive stack is. So for an INFJ, we talked in the previous podcast, INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. Okay, so my driver, me and Kira's driver, is going to be, what is it? It's introverted intuition, which means perspectives. That means the leading strength and skill that we do best is by talking in perspectives, exploring different possibilities, talking about them, and expressing those things. So you can see how that could be good for a podcast, right? We're talking perspectives right now. I'm in my driver function. My co-pilot is going to be extroverted feeling, which is nicknamed harmony. So when I get into my growth state, which is my co-pilot, I can get into a state of harmony. So when I am doing my driver and my co-pilot together, bringing people together into harmony with my perspectives, that's when I'm at my greatest strength. So whenever in order to determine your greatest strength, you can look at your driver and your co-pilot and see if you can combine those two things together. Okay? Like I said, for me and Kira, our greatest strength for our driver and co-pilot is combining the perspectives and harmony. It's almost like teaching other people one-on-one or in groups or however, or on a podcast, might be a great application for strengths for an INFJ. It's both fulfilling and helpful and effective. You'll find on the Personality Hacker website or any other website for INFJs that they end up becoming really great counselors and life coaches. Mm-hmm. All right. In the back seat, we have the 10-year-old and the 3-year-old. So these are the less developed cognitive functions. The 10-year-old is going to be introverted thinking, which is accuracy, is the nickname. And then on the 3-year-old side, it's going to be extroverted sensing, which is sensation. Those are the less developed cognitive functions. And we have this thing called a cognitive loop, to where if I'm not feeling pretty good, and if I'm kind of falling into my rut, I can get into this cognitive loop where I'm kind of jumping between my driver and my 10-year-old, which means I'm in perspectives as well as accuracy. And for me, that might look like getting really bogged down by the details and into accuracy and whatnot. I'm not at my prime. I'm not doing my best work. It's kind of more of a rut, right? So for me, what I would need to do to get out of that is to try to integrate some harmony in there, and see if I can get myself out of that. That will feel better in most cases to integrate that harmony element. Harmony might not come immediately natural for me, but if I can get into it with perspectives, I am going to start feeling better as I practice doing that, because harmony and perspectives are my strong points. Same for Kira. Quick introduction to the 3-year-old. That's the least developed cognitive function, which is extroverted sensing. Some people who have extroverted sensing as a primary function, like in their driver or co-pilot, those people might be drawn to things like sports and athletes and what have you, because they really use that to function in the world. For me and Kira, it's going to be in the back seat. So going out into the world and experiencing sensation and touching and feeling and whatnot, and going out and experiencing life with the 5 senses, I mean, I really do enjoy doing that, but I don't do it as a primary thing. No matter what MBTI you have in your backseat 3-year-old, you want to consider that 3-year-old for use for when it's time to de-stress yourself and to relax, okay? So I'll know that if I'm stressing out, for example, then I need to I probably need to get into some extroverted sensing, because that is going to help me to unload some of my stress. Go outside, walk around, and play, sense, go swimming, go hiking, do something physical. That'll help unstress me faster than anything else, to change the scenery in that way. Okay. Similarly, with the 10-year-old behind the co-pilot, that cognitive function of accuracy for me, it's if I find myself in hyper accuracy mode. We talked in a previous podcast about stepping away from the computer. That's a good time to, if you're in that cognitive loop of driver accuracy all the time and just really digging in, it's good to go step away and take a walk, especially for INFJs like us. So that 10-year-old is really going to be good for times of intimacy and for being playful, not as a primary way of living, okay? So in review, you got your driver, which is your primary cognitive function. For INFJs, it's going to be perspectives. That's what we lead with, which kind of makes us teachers and counselors and such. The co-pilot, which is our growth state, doesn't come naturally to us, but if we can get into it, we can really become effective and on fire. No matter what your driver and co-pilot is, combining them together is going to bring about your best strengths. For INFJs, it's going to be perspectives and harmony, bringing in that social element. And then for the back seat, your 10-year-old, whatever that is for you, it's best to be used in times of play or intimacy. The 3-year-old, sitting right behind the driver, the least developed cognitive function you have, is going to be best used for times of play and as well as de-stressing, unstressing yourself if you find that you get overworked. So that's my short introduction to cognitive functions and the CAR model. And as you plug in your own 4-letter type from Myers-Briggs and look at your results online and whatnot, you'll be able to start seeing, especially from Personality Hacker, where you can find a majority of this information, how you can start leveraging your strengths based on your own cognitive functions.
And I'd also like to add that when the way that I use this cognitive loop idea is that I will actually use it as an evaluation tool for other people and how I interact with them. So, for example, I have someone who has, I think it's memory and accuracy as the two things that make them feel the best. And so I'm perspectives and harmony. So what that creates is, one, it can be really great because you can be a really fantastic team. However, if one person doesn't realize that you work best in perspectives and harmony and they work best in accuracy, memory and accuracy, then it can actually cause a lot of conflict. But if you understand how it all works, then you can actually really have a fantastic relationship, because it's a good combination to have those 4 elements. So if I'm perspectives in harmony, let's say we're teaching a class and I'm perspectives in harmony, I'm going to connect with the students. I'm going to build community. I'm going to want to play fun, silly games. I'm going to want to just create a fun, loving environment. That person who's memory and accuracy is going to make sure that they get the facts, that everything is set up properly, that they know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're going to follow a system that they have memorized and that they will absolutely be accurate about, and they will have an expectation that the rest of the people be accurate when doing whatever it is, that thing that we're teaching them or training them on. So it can be really cool because that's a positive combination. Where the wheels fall off a little bit is when there isn't any forgiveness in the different style of, let's say, teaching or partnering, or if you're in a relationship with somebody who is different from you in that regard. But if at least one of you knows, then you get the honor of being the one that lets go and saying, hey, this is just how I work, and I think this is fantastic because we can work together.
Excellently said. There's going to be different types of personalities, and sometimes that can cause, it doesn't cause conflict, but it may result in conflict because you speak different languages. So the best thing to do is to recognize that while you may be wired differently, you can respect and honor each other's differences so that you can bring about your best strengths. And in business, it can be supremely powerful if you can deliberately hire personality types that are different from yours, who are especially wired for their position. Like for an example, an ISFJ is going to be a great receptionist type of person. Not the only best, but one good one that comes to mind. People who do your books, your financial people, they're great if they are, say, ISTJs, for example, very detail-oriented with accuracy. Your salespeople should probably be like ESFJs or ESTJ or ESFPs or ENFPs. Could be great salespeople. Your counselors and teachers, INFJs. Also, INFPs could be good teachers as well as salespeople. So lots of different personality types are going to gravitate probably to those types of positions on their own in their respective industries. But all that having been said, you don't necessarily want to hire people who are exactly like you in your business, because while it may be really fun to be surrounded by people who are just like you, without you being able to evaluate the business's needs, you'll find that the business is really lopsided. Everybody loves to work with clients and nobody's running the books.
Right.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You got people who are all running the books, same personality type, and nobody has any kind of real, genuine interface with the clients because they're all afraid of them.
Yeah, or sales.
Sales experience.
Yeah.
It's good to have variety, and it's good to have strategy and how you strategically position key personnel, not just based on their competencies, but based on their natural strengths.
Yeah. And I think that really makes a difference in your business. If you're going to have a holistic practice, I know when I went into hypnosis, I had not had the intention to be a business person, but as a result of just doing this type of work, you learn a lot about a lot of things. But my husband, Todd here, has a lot of strengths that I don't have, and even though we have the same Myers-Briggs type, he still is stronger in other things than I am, and I'm stronger in other things than he is. So, it's a good partnership, even though we are the same personality type. So what I'm trying to say there is that, yes, Myers-Briggs does give us and inform us in different areas, especially dealing with our cognitive loops and stacks, but also know that there are other parts of our personality that are going to create overall success for us.